Welcome to Young Asia Television.
Presented by the National Science Foundation of Sri Lanka.
We're back with another important topic that can greatly benefit your life. Hello and welcome to Mihi Mandala.
නිල් පැහැයෙන් හැඩ වූ එකමුළුවක් ඇත්තේ ගහකොළ මල් සුසැදී පනනල ඇත සුරැකී ජීවිතයේ විදුනැන අත්කර ගත යුත්තේ අවනි පැයුම් බිහිවිය යුත්තේ සොබාදහම් සුරැකිය යුත්තේ අප සම නිරෝගී විය යුත්තේ ජීවිතයේ මේ සියලු රහස් ගැන දැනුවත් විය යුත්තේ විද්‍යාවෙන් තේරුම්ගෙන ලෝකය ජීවත් විය යුත්තේ
Mihi Mandala.
We often suffer from psychological problems just as much as with physical health. However, identifying a psychological problem isn't as easy as physical illnesses. Psychological problems can occur and go away just like a common cough or cold. However, just as a common cough or cold could lead to pneumonia, psychological problems too can lead to serious mental illness. Today on Mihi Mandala, we explore psychological health.
Sri Lankans traditionally have led a simple, stress-free life. However, the socio-economic changes in recent times have had a negative impact on people and society. Such negative impact has had consequences which have affected the health of people, resulting in increased non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension and cancer, and also mental health problems like stress and depression. The health of people deteriorates as a result of emotional conflict and psychological problems. Some find it difficult or don't know how to cope with the problem that worries them. Therefore, it's important for us to be aware of psychological well-being to identify a problem at its inception.
We are generally afraid of the mere mention of mental ill health. This is often due to the notions associated with the lack of awareness. I doubt I'll be wrong if I say that stress is something that we all have experienced at least some point in our lives. Stress is also the beginning to most mental disorders. So, what is this stress?
Stress can be defined in very simple terms. Any event or situation that can cause distress or discomfort to a person. Now in this situation, what is important is not the event or the situation, but how it causes the discomfort and the distress. That is what it makes an event or a situation stressful to a person. So, event which is stressful to one person may not be stressful to another person. So, what we look at is how it causes the distress and the discomfort. The event can be a very severe event or a very mild event, but the distress or the discomfort can be the same. So, stress is something that you experience as a result of an event or situation. For example, if you take an exam as an event, for some students the exam might be very threatening and may cause distress and discomfort as a result of that. So, for them the exam has become a stress, what we call exam stress. For another student it can be something different, quite different. The student might think that this is an opportunity for me to show my ability, and or this is an opportunity for me to go to the next stage. So, for that person the exam is not causing a distress or a discomfort. In fact, it is a welcoming thing. So, so even if the event is the same, how it affects the people will be different.
Our lives are filled with many tasks to be completed within a limited time frame. Racing to meet deadlines, juggling with our daily responsibilities, and getting through special events naturally results in stress in people. Research has shown that 58% of men and 67% of women suffer some form of stress.
You may be surprised to learn that stress can sometimes affect us positively. It can actually help us achieve our goals and objectives. There is positive stress and there is negative stress. Let us explore this through a scientific perspective.
Stress can be either beneficial or it may be detrimental. Now, the beneficial part is called the positive stress, where in fact that this is less well known, that stress can actually help us. It actually stimulates the nervous system, it arouses the nervous system, so you become more alert when you are under stress, and as a result of that your performance can improve. Now, this is usually used in sports where say an athlete can be trained to perform or improve the performance using the stress part. Now, for example, in an Olympic final event like 100 meters, there are 8 competitors, but all have the same ability, that is why they are there, but only 3 will win the medals, and it depends mainly on the performance of that particular event on that particular day. So, a person who uses the stressful situation to his or her advantages can improve the performance. This is also called eustress. Now, that is another term that is used, or positive stress. Of course, you have the negative aspect also. The negative stress is the thing that is more talked about. Now, stress can be negative, especially in 2 ways. It affects our health. For example, stress can increase the health risk behaviors of a person. Now, health risk behaviors, for example, are smoking, drinking, becoming violent and things like that. So, when people are under stress, some people increase that. So, for example, a person who is not smoking might start smoking or may increase the smoking or drinking. Some people become violent when they are under stress. So, that is what we call health risk behaviors. That is one way the stress can adversely affect our health. The second way is actually, which is I think is even more important, is stress can actually affect our immunity. It actually reduces or impairs our immunity, so that we become more vulnerable to external or internal problems which might affect our normal body function.
Mental pressure is common to all of us. We all face stressful situations on a day-to-day basis. Stress can affect not only our mental well-being but our physical well-being as well. It can affect us negatively, upsetting the balance of our day-to-day lives. Therefore, it is important for us to identify what causes stress and how it can affect our lives. Sociologist Ronald L. Peterson states that youth face a severe form of stress. They go through physical and emotional changes that occur during puberty. He says in his writing that a usual day at school can be a very stressful situation for a child. Dealing with their day-to-day activities, sports, relationships with their friends and teachers can all be stressful situations that youth have to deal with in their day-to-day lives.
To put it very plainly, anything under the sun, including the sun, can cause stress. In other words, anything can cause stress. But when it comes to clinical, where we see people who are under stress problems, there are four main sources of stress. The first one is when we experience some form of threat. That threat can be a source of stress to us. Now, for example, an exam is a form of a threat. It is threatening our career or our future development or whatever. So, that can be a threat, any form of threat. Then the second thing is changes in our life changes or life events. A person getting pregnant and delivering a child, becoming a mother for the first time. So, that is a life event, and it induces certain changes in the person's lifestyle. And so, bringing up the child, looking after the child, especially in the first child, because you do not have experience also, might be a source of threat. So, that is a life event or a change, because when a change happens, you have to adjust to that new situation. You have to be flexible and adjust. So, that is another source of stress. That is the second one. Third one is certain occupations by nature is a form of threat. There is what we call extreme demands being made as a result of that situation. Now, for example, a fighter pilot who has to fly the plane and attack the enemy positions, and also take care of himself and plane to safety. So, that is a very extremely demanding situation. Then the fourth one is in relation to relationships. Either starting a relationship can be very stressful to some, maintaining that relationship can be even more stressful, and of course, ending of a relationship. All the three phases can lead to stress. So, that is what we see most often.
Psychological changes, reduced ability in remembering, lack of concentration, constantly being fearful, indecisiveness, negative thoughts, constantly lamenting or complaining, easily angered, believing there is no one for them, constantly disturbed and inability to relax, hallucination and depression. Physical symptoms: constant aches and pain, chest pain or increased heartbeat, indigestion, discomfort or pain in the stomach after consumption of food, nausea, feeling unsteady, headache, physical weakness, irregular bowel movement, irregular menstrual cycle, low libido, fluctuating blood sugar levels, cognitive changes, a change in the way of thinking, behavioral changes, excessive or reduced food intake than usual, insomnia or sleeping excessively, isolating oneself from others, neglecting duties and responsibilities, addiction to drugs.
Extreme fear, depression, boisterous anger and hatred can all cause heavy psychological stress. Biological research confirms that this psychological stress can affect our neuroendocrine and immune systems. This can cause serious physical issues.
The beginning of psychological stress could be compared to an airplane preparing for takeoff. When you experience this stress, your heartbeat and blood pressure will increase. Your sugar levels will increase and hormones will be discharged. If you experience constant stress, it will affect your entire physical system. Brain, heart, lungs, nerves and muscles will contract and cause pain and reduce its functions. You would experience constant headaches. With time, this will affect your physical and mental state. You would be surprised to know how much of diseases are caused by psychological stress. Heart diseases, paralysis, immunity, cancer, muscular and bone diseases, and diabetes are amongst just a few.
When a person is under stress, there are certain changes. Now, these changes can be divided into physical changes and the psychological changes. Now, the physical changes will be increasing of heart rate, increasing of pulse rate, increasing the breathing, sweating, certain changes that occur as a result of activating of the sympathetic nervous system. Now, that is where the stress actually affects the brain, and so as a result of that you get physical changes. Then you have the psychological changes, like a person might become irritable, might find it difficult to focus attention or concentrate, a task may be difficult to achieve or complete, and also there can be interpersonal relationship difficulties. It will be very difficult to get on with people, and we see this sometimes either at home or at workplace, where people who are under stress have difficulties or conflicts with other people. So, those are the psychological aspects. So, usually it is a combination of both. Now, this indicates, or this is a good way to show how the mind and the body works. Now, as we now know, mind and the body works in a way, in a harmonious way. And now there is a way of explaining this mechanism using what we call a psychoneuroimmune system. So, this is a new system that has been found to be operating in our body. Now, this word psychoneuroimmune, three areas. Psycho means the mind, neuro means the nerves, that is the brain and the nervous system, and the immune system. Now, all these three areas work in a coordinated way. We can call it a joint operation. Actually, there is a fourth component also called the endocrine system, that is the hormonal system. So, all four work together, and that is why when we are under stress, we see changes in all these aspects. So, there is also changes inside the body, chemical changes inside the body. For example, the adrenaline hormone level goes up, the blood sugar level will go up. All these are actually as a result of this PNI system working, or the psychoneuroimmune system working when a person is under stress.
It is extremely difficult for individuals to assess their own psychological status. For this, they would need professional help to clearly understand and evaluate to what extent psychological stress is affecting them. Answers to questions can be used to determine this fact.
Stress is something that is unavoidable. So, the best way to deal with it is to learn how to cope with it or manage stress. Now, there are very simple methods and easy methods of managing stress, and there are so many ways of doing it. Now, one of the things that has been shown is that you can train people to cope or withstand stress. Now, this was initially shown in military training, where a normal ordinary person can be trained to work under very high stress situations in a very calm way. For example, an officer who is trained in diffusing live bombs in a bomb disposal unit. Now, an ordinary person would become very frightened and usually might escape. I mean, that's the normal reaction that you expect. But now this person is able to calmly go and actually sometimes even touch the bomb and then inactivate or defuse it. Now, how was that possible? The reason behind that is the training. So, that shows that if proper training is given, you can get people to work under even under high stress situations. Same thing can be applied to school children who are sitting for an exam. For example, the grade 5 students who have to sit for the scholarship exam. Now, one way of doing it is to train them to sit for exams. Now, what we call in the form of mock exams. So, that there are exam rehearsals, so that the child gets used to answering papers in an exam environment or exam situation. This is called mock exams. Planning and conducting mock exams is a good way of reducing exam related stress. Basic principle is proper training can make people function better under stress, or what we call cope with stress in a better way.
We are constantly affected by various physical and psychological stresses in our day-to-day challenges. Your psychological stress could affect your physical well-being. To be in control of your psychological stress, here are a couple of tips which you need to follow.
You could get relief from psychological stress when you jog until your body gets physically stressed. Deep breathing. If you are unable to spend time on physical activity to relieve your psychological stress, you could find relief through deep breathing. Walking. Your stress levels would be reduced when you see the changing environment without being in one place. Yoga exercises. Yoga offers you both physical and psychological relief. It is important that you consult a qualified yoga instructor prior to commencing yoga exercises. Talk to confidants. If you are stressed over any issue, talking to someone who you could trust could bring psychological relief. Spend time with your family. You could find relief from stress in talking to your spouse or your children. Talking to ones close to you could help in reducing stress.
Time can be actually a source of stress as well. To manage the time, it's very important that you must have a plan or some strategy. It can be day-to-day work. What are the most essential things that I have to do? Like that, to have a priority list and work on that. That is one aspect of it, managing time in an efficient way. The second thing is, of course, managing the time of the whole day. Now, some people only think about work, and that is the most of the time of the day is spent on working and only working. Then they tend to neglect other things. So, it's very important that you have a balanced day when it comes to your work, spending time with the family, spending time with children, also having some leisure activities for you, so that your focus is shifted to something more pleasant, and also religious activities, leisure activities, cultural activities, and also interacting with people. It's very important, social interactions and things like that, so that at the end of the day you will have a balanced day, so that you have divided your day into all these aspects, so that the life will be of a high quality. So that is also part of time management.
I'm sure you would have gained valuable knowledge and learned simple tips on how to cope with your psychological stress. On today's episode of Me Mandala, we attempted to show you the scientific knowledge behind stress management. And with that, we come to the end of the show. Here's wishing you a stress-free week.